Hi there. This week we have the assignment to observe the social characteristics of people with autism spectrum disorder. As a high school autism teacher, I observe this daily. So some things that I have observed that are characteristics of autism spectrum disorder are heightened interest in isolated topics. So some of my students have isolated interests around movies such as Toy Story 2. Another student I have has isolated interests around superheroes and Transformers. Another student has an isolated interest on Yo Gabba Gabba. And another student has an isolated interest on two things. His is music, like band instruments, and also basketball. So knowing those isolated interests and become highly motivating activities when we use those to motivate the student to perform skills or to work on skills in school. So if I know that the student really loves basketball, I can make that a reward so he can talk about basketball or play basketball if he does his work. So he can earn 10 stars and then he can earn the opportunity to play basketball. The same goes for Yo Gabba Gabba videos or Toy Story 2 videos, or another one is America's Funniest Home Videos. I have another student who loves those. So that's all over in my classroom for sure. Another thing is that all of my students have a really difficult time communicating. So three of the students in my class have AAC devices. Two use Proloquo to go, and another uses the LAMP application. So what that does is allows the student to make requests or to communicate with his teachers or his peers. We're working on communicating with our peers functionally so that we can hopefully unlock some of what's going on for them and get to build a little bit better relationships, and mostly just to decrease frustration in the communication world. So if you really need to go to the bathroom, or you really need to take a break, or if you really, really want to get some exercise and move around a little bit, it's going to be really hard to communicate that if you have no words. And so these students are entirely nonverbal, and then I have another student who's like functionally nonverbal, and we use just PECs or like icons to sort of unlock. He's capable of saying words, but his language is just really difficult to come out. So for him, we do something a little bit different. He doesn't need the electronic communication device because he is able to make some requests, but in his receptive language is really low also. So it helps if we provide some sort of visual icon to show expectations, and then he can also select the icons to show some sort of understanding. He's much better with pointing than he is with verbally expressing himself. And if he can bring you over to something that he wants, he can do that much easier than receptively or expressively saying verbally that he wants something, whether it be like a muffin or the computer or the rocking chair or whatever it is. He's much more capable. He knows what he wants. He just has a difficult time expressing it. So, and that's really common in my classroom. I have one student who is fully verbal, and he has a much better way of expressing himself. We still work on social things with him too, because reciprocal conversation is really hard for him. He's able to identify emotions and identify emotions in other students also, and that's of interest to him actually, but he really does struggle with turn taking and with talking about something that's not his own personal interest, and kind of having that appropriate reciprocal conversation is something that he still struggles with. So we do a lot of cooperative activities with that guy. and try to include his peers too, but his peers struggle a little bit more than he does, so that makes it difficult. He learns probably best still with the modeling phase from the adult or the aide teacher, or speech pathologist, school psych, whoever he's working with, so that he can kind of work toward getting a response back, because like I said, the other students are functionally nonverbal or entirely nonverbal, and that just makes things really hard to communicate for him because he's still in that learning phase. So in some ways he's a model, and we use him as like the higher and the high-low level learning as the peer who can be modeled at times. But then at other times he kind of needs to break away from the group, and sometimes he works with our functional life skills class also during group work, so that we can really push those social skills. So yeah, I would say I definitely saw a lot of the things that we are learning about, just of the characteristics that are typical in people with autism within my classroom daily, and it's helpful to remember the characteristics and the strategies and the evidence-based practices that we can use to make sure that we're strengthening the skills that our students need to work on. Thank you.